Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little different. I've been into foraging herbs. This is my new thing I've been doing this last year, and I wanted to share one of my new recipes with you. It's the season right now to be foraging for herbs, and you can make salves, you can make tinctures. There's so much you can do with them. Today I'm going to show you how to do a skin salve for rashes, for bug bites, for cuts, for scratches. It can even be used for the herpes virus, which is crazy, but it can treat all of this, and I'm going to share this with you today. And this is the yarrow salve I just did recently. So the one we're doing today has more herbs in it. It's going to be similar to this, and it's great for any skin irritation, dry skin, cuts, bites, poison ivy. So we're going to get right into this. So what you're going to need for this recipe, you're going to need your extra virgin olive oil. I get the organic, but you can get whatever you want to get. I have something called mallow. This is a herb that, and I'll take you outside and show you where I found these. You're going to need this. You're going to want to pick some plantain, which everyone's got plantain growing in their yard. You wouldn't believe the medicinal qualities this has. Something called self-heal. This is another herb, and I'll show you where I found that. And then I have yarrow, which is like one of the best herbs, medicinal herbs you can find in the wild. This is a great one. It's got these, some of these have antibacterial properties too. I can actually go over that with you right now. So mallow, this soothes inflamed tissue. It's an antibacterial herb. Plantain promotes healing in minor wounds, sores, insect bites, stings, and rashes. Your yarrow is anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, good for bruises and sprains. You can make a paste from this too. Like if you're outside and you end up injuring yourself, you can chew this up and you can put it on your sprain, you can put it on your cut, and it induces healing. And then your self-heal is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, treats herpes virus, treats bites, stings, rashes, and poison ivy. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a salve with all of these. So I'm going to combine all of them, and hopefully it comes out to be a really nice salve. I haven't done this one in particular, but I don't see why I can't. So also you're going to want beeswax. So you want olive oil, beeswax, and then you want, and you don't need all these herbs. You can do this with just yarrow. You can do it with just plantain. But I'm mixing all of them because I need a really good salve. So come along with me and I'll show you where I found these, and I'll show you how you do it. Thank you. Okay guys, I'm going to show you where I found these herbs. Here's a mallow right here. So it's a low growing ground cover, and this particular patch doesn't have the flowers yet, but they have little whitish pink flowers. So I have more over here, a lot of it. I'll show you the patch I got it from too, where it actually had the flowers. And then plantain, everyone's got plantain. It likes the bare spots in your yard. You'll see it coming up there a lot of times. Right now they're seeding. We're in July, so some of these herbs are flowering and they're seeding right now. Yarrow. I'm going to have to walk across the street to show you where I found that one. And the self-heal, I'll show you where I found that. So here's the mallow again. See, this one has the, and these, like, once they flower, they get like little buttons. That's where the seeds end up showing up on the plant. But it starts off as these little flowers, see? And then it turns into like these little button seeds. Alright, and this is the self heal right here. And they're just starting to get their flowers right now. But we're kind of in my meadow area. So I guess they like growing in meadows. You see how that looks? It won't focus real well. There it goes. A little better. And see, this doesn't have the flowers coming in yet, but that's what it looks like before it gets flowers. And you guys want to make sure you identify these herbs 100% before using them too. And I also want to let you know I'm a doctor. You know, this is just what I use to help myself. So I like sharing a little bit of wisdom I have with you guys. But you know, you want to test it on like a small part of your body, see how you react to it. And you might even want to ask your doctor, you know, if you have a skin condition, if it would be helpful or hurtful for you. I'm going to show you where I found my yarrow. And also with yarrow, I don't think they look much alike, but there's poisonous hemlock too, and you have to be careful that you don't accidentally pick poison hemlock, because they both have like the umbrella like flowers on the top. Also, like, you have Queen's Anne's lace right here. Now this isn't going to hurt you, but this looks a lot like poison hemlock too. And you just have to want to make sure you know your herbs really well before you go and do this. But the I haven't seen hemlock yet this year. Hopefully I don't have it on my property. But I have the yarrow and I have the Queen's Anne lace. And the Queen's Anne's lace has a lot of medicinal qualities as well. Okay guys, this is yarrow right here. And this is like, the flowers are pretty well done, and I guess it's getting its seeds right now. But this part of the plant, I mean the flower head and this is still useful. But I wouldn't let it go so far as where it's looking like that without the petals. I'll show you some younger stuff too, but see the ferny like, yeah. And they're kind of tall. I guess they're like maybe 2 foot tall. There's another one. But like I said, they're going to seed now. Here's some up here too. And these still have some of the petals. But they're more like little white flowers before they get to that stage. And I'm going to see if I can find you some like that too. I'm sure I have some. Alright, so here's another yarrow. Hopefully that gives you an idea. There's a lot of online resources for wild edibles too. I can't stress it enough, just know your plants if you're going to do this kind of stuff. I think I showed you all of them that I have for this salve. So I'll take you back to the house and I'll show you how you do it. I want to show you guys before we go back in. I had already cut the flowers on this, but this is yarrow too. You see how the leaves look? But you can use this, if you can't find the flowers, you can use just leaves as well. So I'm going to grab some of them, because their flowers are pretty mature. You know, I probably should have done a video a couple weeks ago on this. Really, you know, to use the younger flowers, but this will work good too. Okay, so what you're going to want as far as equipment goes is a stock pot and mason jars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 cups of oil per jar, 2 cups of the olive oil, and I'm going to get this nice and hot. I'm going to warm this up while we cut up the herbs. But you want to get this not boiling because you don't want to overcook the herbs, but we're going to simmer the herbs We're going to set this inside with the oil and the herbs, and we're going to simmer them for several hours. So we're going to extract all the good oils out of these herbs. But if you don't have a big stock pot in mason jars, you can use a double boiler too. But I don't have a double boiler that's big enough, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So we're going to get started. I'm going to just use kitchen shears. I always use scissors. That's my go-to in the kitchen. That's my #1 used tool in the kitchen are scissors. But we're going to chop these up real fine. Alternatively, you can use a blender too. So you could throw all these herbs in the blender together and you can blend them up that way too. But I don't want to make it too fine. I'd rather chop it with scissors. So that's what I'm going to do. So go ahead and add your oil first. So like I said, I'm doing 2 cups. You can half the recipe. I'm going to do 2 cups per jar because I want to do a big batch of this. That way I can give them away as gifts, you know, for people who, especially in the winter time, if they're experiencing dry skin, it'll be a nice present for people. And I'm just going to chop up the herbs, and I'm going to make sure there's enough oil to cover them. Not too many herbs, because you want them covered a little bit, at least, with the oil. I got my mother-in-law picking me up more oil because I'm using it all today with this. Alright, I think this will work. I have the phone propped up so you can at least see my hands. So I'm going to do the self-heal. See about how I'm cutting it up. Not real fine. Because I'm just going to run it through a mesh strainer. That's what I'm going to do. You can use cheesecloth too after we've cooked it on the stove for a little while. So see? And the plantain. It makes easy work to have a pair of kitchen shears. If you ever watched any of my other cooking videos, these things are always my go-to for lots of things. Chicken tenders, this is how I cut up the nuggets for the kids. And you know, there's no real measurement on this. I'm just putting in what I feel like putting in. I don't have any real measurements except the 2 cups of olive oil per jar. And just cover the herbs with the olive oil. And then the yarrow. I'm using the whole plant. I'm using the flowers and the leaves. Plus I think yarrow has a nice smell to it. And it is a hot July day. We still don't have air conditioning because the house is still under construction. But I'm thankful it's getting done, but boy is it hot without air conditioning. And then our mallow is already starting to wilt some. Same thing with that, just chop it up, not too fine, not too chunky either. And I'm just going to mix this all together. I'm probably going to need a little more of this because I'm doing 2 jars. And I have the little stems that I picked when we were outside, or the leaves rather. Yeah, I don't think you want to really let that go that far like I did. See, here's a younger flower here, but it's wilting. See how it looks before it almost goes to seed? They're little white flowers with a little center. But as they mature, the centers get quite large because I guess it's where the seeds end up. And then it loses its petals. I'll add a little more plantain. And also, you can dry these in a dehydrator first before, you can dehydrate these before you make the oil from them. A lot of people like doing that because it uses less oil when you do that. And we'll stuff the jars. Like I said, it's just a good mix of it all together. And we're just going to add this. I'm going to use a spatula to kind of push it down. You just want to make sure that oil covers them. But you don't want to be skimpy on the herbs either. So I got the jars nice and packed. See how I have, it's packed good and tight with herbs, but it's still saturated with the oil. And I'm going to stick these jars in my pot of hot water. And I'm going to bring this up to boil, and then I'm going to turn the heat back probably between low and medium. So that's what I'm going to do. Because you don't want to overly cook it. You want it to be nice and hot, but you don't want it. I think they say like optimum is like 120 degrees, but I'm going to probably do a little longer or higher than that because I don't want to be cooking this all day. And I'm going to let it simmer probably for like 3 to 4 hours. Because it's 3:20 now. And I don't want to be doing this when I'm cooking dinner. So I'll probably do this till like 6. I'll say 6 o'clock. And I'll show you what the oil looks like by then. It'll turn a nice green. And then I'll show you the next steps to take. One other thing I forgot to mention. You don't want the water real high. I don't know if you could tell, but it only comes up to about where the oil is in the jars. Because you don't want water getting in with your oil. So you want to keep it low enough where if it's simmering or boiling even, you don't want the water getting inside the jars. So just do this for a few hours and I'll see you in a bit. So it's been it's been 4 hours, and yes, I end up cutting into dinner. This is what we're having for dinner. We're having chicken continental. It's our chicken and our green beans that we use to make this, and our tarragon. It'll be yummy. I got white rice. This gets mixed in with that. Anyway, back to our project. This is what it turned out looking like. And what I'm going to do now is let me put it in the light so you can see better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain this through a mesh strainer instead of using cheesecloth, because I didn't cut it too fine. I think we'll be okay with using the mesh strainer. That's what we're going to do. Find a big enough bowl. And a big mesh strainer, and we're just going to dump this in here. And I waited like, it's been like an hour for it to cool off some, because it's hot when it first comes off. And also, I might want to mention to you guys, watch your water levels. We stepped out, we went to the store, and when I came back, the water level was way down. It's wise to like add water as needed. But I wasn't here. But everything turned out fine anyway. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to dump this in here. And then I'm going to take my spatula, my plastic spatula, I'm going to press down. I'm going to get that extra oil out. That's probably where the really good stuff is. And I wish I had a kid filming, because then I would have both hands. Make it a little bit easier. You just want to squeeze that oil out. It's going to be a little hard because the bowl is not deep enough. But see that? And like I said, you want to make sure there's no particles in there. We want to put it back on the stove. And we want to add beeswax. So you're going to want to shave down. It's going to be half a cup. If you did 2 cups of oil, you're going to want to use half a cup of beeswax. And what I do is I just shave it down with a knife. And it's time consuming. And then you just measure it out in a measuring cup, a half a cup. So that's what I'm going to be doing while dinner is finishing up. I'm going to shave this down. Just shave it, just small slivers. And we're going to do half a cup. Okay, so I shaved a cup. I actually misspoke. I said I only had to do half a cup because I did 2 cups of oil, but I actually did 4 cups of oil. I forgot I wasn't thinking I had the two jars with 2 cups each, so it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So if you're doing like 1 cup of oil, you would do a 1/4 cup of beeswax. So I have a whole cup because I did 4 cups, and I let my oil warm up. And I'm going to add my beeswax. And I did like chunkier than normal because it's warm, so it's not shaving in thin pieces, but this is fine. You want to melt this down good. And you can do a little bit higher beeswax content if you wanted, you know, because if you want like a heavier, harder balm or salve, you want to do a little more beeswax than a 4-to-1 ratio. Alright, so I'm just going to stir this some. I'm going to get my jars ready. I ordered special jars just for this occasion. I got some blue and I got some amber jars for salves on Amazon. So let me find, those are my droppers. That's not what I need. These are the blue ones, and I think this is what I want to use for this. Aren't they pretty? And I'm probably going to need like 6 of them. I'm thinking maybe I'll do 3 of each. Or maybe I should do all 6 in blue. And that way it doesn't get confusing when I make my other balms. I'm thinking I'm going to need, these probably, I'm guessing, hold half a cup each or something. So I might even need more than these. We'll see. We'll find out. Oh, and dinner, you want to see what dinner turned out looking like? Isn't that beautiful? Maybe I'll do another cooking video soon, because I know y'all enjoyed my cooking videos too. So maybe I'll take time and do something with chicken. Alright, so it's already melted down. You can let it cool off a tiny bit if you're afraid. Like if it's cold, I definitely wouldn't pour this hot oil into cold jars. But it is summertime here right now, so. But I'm still gonna let it cool off a minute, and I'm gonna pour it in jars. All Alright, so I'm going to pour it in the jars now, and I'm not brave enough just to pour it in the jars because these are kind of narrow. So I'm going to use a funnel. I don't know where my stainless steel one is, but I'm not really keen on using plastic when it's hot oil. But so if you have stainless, that would be a better option. I'll fill them pretty much to the top. I'm still making a mess. Filled that one a little too high. I think I have enough for one more jar. And these have the cool little tab things that go on top. But we're going to let this cool off for a little bit. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's cool. Okay, so I've let this cool for several hours now. It came out to be a nice consistency. It's not too hard, not too soft. And keep in mind in the winter it's going to be it's going to end up being a little harder because it's going to be cooler in the house. But I already put this on my neck, and ever since my 20s I've had a rash on my neck, and it drives me nuts. And it's really bad. It flares up seasonally at like certain times of the year, and it's been flaring up now. So I'm going to give this a try and see if it works. But I hope you guys like my recipe on my healing salve, and I hope it benefits you. And let me know if you like this video. Give me some feedback. Thank you guys for watching, and God bless. And please subscribe if you haven't. Thanks.